So I sent around an inclusive language version of Psalm 100. And here it is read again, this time from the New Revised Standard Version. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord is God. It is he that made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. Well, friends, Psalm 100 is a powerful expression of thanksgiving in just a few verses, isn't it? And it's used in Jewish worship most days of the week. I do hope that you will look at the musical recording on YouTube that I draw to your attention. Sir David Wilcox's introduction and the words at the end that he says will make you chuckle, and the music is sure to move you. Friends, may we remember right now that it's our time to make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Not just some of us, the clever ones or the old ones or the young folk or the confident people or the extroverts. Do you know any of those? But everyone, all the earth. We're called again into a big universalizing vision and asked to be active in it for our own sakes. Make a noise to the gift of life, even in church, especially in church, for what else is our worship for? Let us worship with gladness. It's not always easy. Today we have congregation members concerned about loved ones, and we all know people going through more than seems fair. Paul and I do. The psalmist calls us to look for points of gratitude in our lives, where and how we are now. We have the chance to do that this coming week as we acknowledge and celebrate volunteering in our community, our city, and our country. Gratitude, being able to feel thankful in the joy-expressing heart of us, is a gift for our well-being. Come into his presence with singing. Well, let others hear our joy as we move ever more closely into the divine presence. We're urged to draw close to God with singing again into the mystery of what unfolds before us. In the Hebrew, to know that the Lord is God is not head knowledge merely, being all in. It's relational, seeing that we are of the creative force that made us and which sustains us. We pause to reflect upon the pastoral image of the sheep in God's pasture, cared for by God. Ancient kings, used the shepherd metaphor very commonly. And now the psalmist applies it to God, lifting the imagery to a greater, more universal concept. Remember, all the earth. And the heart of it? Relationship, mutuality, interdependence. And so on to another verb. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, expressing outwardly the gratitude that guides us into God's courts, into the private places of the divine. For God is good. Why? Well, because God is stable, reliable. God is the love that stands forever. Note the present tense, you grammar people. Not back then, not some hope one day. No, the present tense, one big stretch of time. That is the timelessness of God in relationship with us, because there is no time, no place that God is not, or where God has been, is, or will be, more than at any other time or place. So let us make and be the joyful expression of that movement more deeply and wholeheartedly into the very being of God, bringing that for which we are grateful, as well as all that frightens or concerns us, into the very understanding that as we live, we learn. For we're in this thing called life, to quote a singer called Prince. We're in this thing called life with God, in the wonder of creation and recreation. And so it is. Thank you for listening. God blesses us today and always. Amen.